It is Monday, June 25th, 2018. It is 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know it's an hour late, but we are having a little bit of coin metal. My deepest apologies on the delay. I'll just start it from the beginning, man. My morning started. Oh, actually, it didn't really end. So, last night, for some stupid reason, I couldn't get to sleep at a reasonable hour, and so I ended up staying up all night just so I could do early morning getting your ass kicked at jiu-jitsu. And so I did that, and I think I ended up with like a 2, maybe 3 hour nap between then and going out with the old man on my boat and catching a couple fish. You know, I had to do it. It was a beautiful day. Caught some fish. Boat performed well. All in all, it was a win. And plus, this morning we did get our asses kicked at jiu-jitsu at least once today. So, you know, I was kind of ahead of the curve on that one. But as far as what we covered, I don't know why, but I have the greatest difficulty with this one escape, and it's a modification from if you have somebody in full mount, getting them from full mount to half guard. And there's this one part of the transition that I always have difficulty with, and so this morning, Mr. Chuck Summers was kind enough to go through it with me and get us in a couple thousand reps. I don't know that we got in a couple thousand, but I definitely got in enough reps that I was sweating pretty good by the time we both left. And so we covered that. And then there was some stuff that Chuck had wanted to work on, and so I don't know that I should. I don't know that it was like this kind of like a super secret thing or anything like that. But he was working on entrances for passing an open guard. You know, so if somebody's facing you in, say, butterfly guard or beach position, that you would be wanting to get around their legs, you know, get around their guard, you know. And so he was looking, he wanted to work a specific angle for coming in and getting into that guard and whatnot. And so we were working stuff with like X-Pass and stuff like that. So all in all, I felt like it was a pretty productive morning. I mean, you know, we got a little bit of his stuff in, a little bit of my stuff in, got a lot of reps in. And that's really what you need to etch those movements into your brain, you know, so that like when it comes up in combat that, you know, hey, it's right there. You know, it's not something where you're having to think about what you're doing, you're just doing it. You know, it's like, oh, his arm's there. Okay, so with his arm there, I do this. You know, and this isn't just one little movement. It's like 3 or 4 movements and a couple transitions, and you go from one position into another. You know, where you go from being underneath them to being on top of them and having their arm in an arm bar or some shit like that, you know. But yeah, so I did get my workout on the day, and so you know that threw me off, you know, as far as my timing goes. And so, you know, we got off the water, and that shit takes a lot out of you, you know. And we were bouncing up and down on the water the whole time we were out there. It was windy and rough, and having to hold the boat in the wind while we're trying to fish a couple specific spots. And so yeah, you know, I came home, got the boat unhooked, and I just crashed. I woke up about 45 minutes ago. Had just enough time to get out there before the last rays of daylight and bring in the little girls. I got to do something about my that situation. I mean, I definitely got to get my greenhouse done. That way I can just leave them outside instead of having to bring them in the morning. Or, I mean, in the evening, rather. But the one in the middle, man. She is so tall now that she's already tapping the plastic lid that I had over the plants. So, it's getting to be that time, kids. It's actually a little bit late. But, you know, you do what you can. And, I mean, I've been dragging ass this whole time with regard to my projects, and you know, I think a lot of it was just not having everything already set up, as far as like having 2 specific grow areas, having 1 specific dry area. I mean, shit, now I got 3 grow areas. I mean, and you know, it's I think either this year or next. I think next year will be like the perfect year, because I'll already have the greenhouse done, I'll already have the indoor done, and this year it'll actually be continuous for me. This last year it wasn't, because I didn't actually have the box done. So I had a little bit too long in the smaller enclosed area, and so when I expanded into the bigger area, the plants were really, really stunted, and it wasn't until today, or I'd probably say this week, that I really started to see really healthy, really new healthy growth popping up on my plants. And I mean, they've been sprouting a lot of leaves and whatnot, but I mean, this morning and yesterday, I really noticed that the number of what do you call them? Tips. Grow tips, it just multiplied. You know, it wasn't like 1 or 2 here and there. No, it just fucking blew up and multiplied. So I think the plants have finally come back out of shock fully, you know, and are really digging around into that new soil medium and finding their space, you know, and that they have a hell of a lot more of it than they used to. So I'm definitely looking forward to see how that end of the project comes out, because so far the smallest of them, she has probably done the best with it. I mean, every time I come out there, I'm just terribly impressed with how much progress she's made. So the sun system lights, the sun system LECs, this is not a commercial for them or anything. I'm using 2 315s. They're fucking awesome. You'll go fucking blind though. So I would suggest wearing sunglasses and some protective equipment when you do go under them. But as far as like a universal light for both fruiting and budding, and I haven't had an opportunity to bud yet, so I mean fruit yet. So we'll find out how the fruit end of it goes. But so far, the veg growth that I've gotten, way more vibrant, way more healthy than I've seen under my CFL bulbs that I've been using. I mean, I feel bad putting plants under CFLs. I still got one area that's lit with CFLs, and I feel bad for my plants. I feel like putting them under the sun systems, because it's so much brighter. You know, I mean, it's like the canopy issue. It's not as bad with these. I mean, the light penetration is really, really good. I mean, I've got them on the fucking ceiling, and my plants they act like I could raise them another 2 feet off of the plants, and they would be just fine with it. So, if you're looking around for some lights, I would strongly suggest. Although I did get mine at a significant discount. And I get the impression that there's a little bit of a backlog as far as like people buying these. I think somebody miscalculated on their statistical process control sheets, and they made way too many of them. They were expecting that the demand for them would continue to shoot through the roof, Already I'm starting to find all kinds of them on Craigslist, so you don't even have to buy them new. But I'll tell you what, if you get an opportunity to get your hands on some of those fixtures, I'd strongly suggest doing so. Here's with that, I want to go ahead and throw down into some music, because I've just been yammering on for the first 10 minutes straight on through without a first dance. And so let's go ahead and, I got some clutch going on in the background. And I think it's kind of appropriate. So let's go Escape from the Prison Planet. First Dance. Here on Coin Metal. And that was Slayer with Desire. And so we are going to get into some articles now. And I'm almost tempted to call up an old friend and get him on here. Unfortunately, I'm not actually set up for that at this moment. But it may change. You never know. You never know. This is the future. It is the 21st century, in case you've forgotten. It's easy enough to do, seeing as everybody around you seems to want to live in the 1950s through 1980s. I mean, shit, we've got Donald Trump for president. You couldn't have written this any worse. Well, or better. It really depends on your perspective on that one. Honestly, I think he's probably the best of all worlds as far as a president is concerned. I mean, those of you who are fans of Douglas Adams, you might recall a certain leader, a Mr. Zaphod Beeblebrox. And if you are not familiar, please educate yourself, because it'll help you grasp a little bit more of what's going on around you, specifically with regard to Mr. Trump. But yeah, like I said, I think he's the best of all worlds as far as a president could be. His temperament is completely chaotic, and I like that. I think it's good to not be terribly predictable. You know, I mean, I think that about the only thing you can say about Trump is that he's defied your expectations. No matter which way you look at him, he has defied your expectations. Now, how that will translate for us in crypto, honestly, I think it'll be for the good. You'll notice that the executive office has not had a whole hell of a lot to say about Bitcoin or anything crypto related. And you know what? That's fine as far as I'm concerned. You know, we have kind of a dichotomy going on as far as what direction this tech really is going in. You know, there are some that their tendency is to try to draw the interest and the power and the capability into as few hands as possible. And that process has continued on and on and on with every new innovation that's come along. And if you have any mind for history, you can see it. You know, with like the automobile, with radio, with TV, with the printing press. I mean, shit. Just look at the number of stations, or the number of companies that own stations these days. When you narrow it down, I think it's down to 12, maybe 13 media companies own all of the media outlets on the planet, or at least in the United States. And even they are subsidiaries of one another in one way, shape, or form. And they all have overlap at the regulatory point. Now, what makes crypto so different in that is that there are a multitude of applications, not solely monetary, although that is the one that I think is the one that is the most important. And you know, it's easy to get confused about that too. You know, because there is a lot of media out there that doesn't really talk about that aspect of Bitcoin. and cryptocurrencies. They like to talk up blockchains, and they like to talk up smart contracts and lightning networks and layer 2 payment processing, whatever. They like to talk up that stuff, but what they don't like to talk up, or they don't like to mention, is what Bitcoin really represented as a monetary unit. Because previous to Bitcoin, we were limited solely to these huge fucking monopolies that we could not get around. And they were the ones that got to dictate where the interest lies in our economy. You know, it's why we have so much of our economy dependent on war here in the U.S. Because it's got a quick profit to it. And plus, you can reclaim anything that you blow up. But you run into a point where you run out of people to blow up and steal from. And I think that's kind of becoming obvious that, you know, pretty soon you're going to be bombing customers. And that's just bad for business. If you bomb them, they can't buy shit from you. And that, like I said, that's bad for business. You know, and I was talking to a friend about this, and he seemed to believe that we needed to be of a lower volume in populace here on the planet. And I don't disagree with that sentiment. And I'll just be honest about that. I think that the organization and concentration of our cities is completely unrealistic. If we were to have any major disruption in electricity or other energy source, major metropolitan areas would just go fucking shitstorm. They'd be 3 days and they'd be all cannibals. They'd be fucking eating one another. You know? And I know that sounds kind of like a scary thought, but I mean, really, look around you. How much food are you growing? If you're not growing it, somebody else is growing it. Unfortunately for you, that someone else lives a minimum 50 miles away. And that has to use energy to get from 50 miles away to on your plate. I want you to internalize that for a moment. And when you consider that, think about, now, is there anything I can do to change that? And the answers are a lot easier than you would think. And I think that's what's so important about our current age, is that you can go onto YouTube, okay, and you can look up things like how to grow shiitake mushrooms. Or there are several mushrooms that they have a lot of the same nutrients that you would get from meat. You know, and some of them are pretty universal as far as your nutrient profile as far as your requirements go, and their nutrient profile of what they provide. There are plenty of mushrooms that with low to no light can produce an edible food source, a nutritious food source. And they don't require a hell of a lot of space either. So, there's things to consider. And I mean, people have gotten really inventive about this. I've spent years just pouring through YouTube, looking at all kinds of different little solutions that people have cobbled together, and you'd be fucking amazed. Fucking amazed. I think the only reason why anybody's fucking pessimistic about humans is because they're not fucking doing anything. They sit in a goddamn office for 8 hours a day, and they look at a fucking computer screen 8 hours a day. That's quote unquote life to them. They don't got any room in there for gosh, how can I grow a fucking aquaponics setup and have fish in it, and creating nutrition with their shit, and that you don't have time for that kind of thought, And it's that rat race of, the intensity of the hive that you find in New York and other really dense civic areas. Now, I'll be honest here, and take it for what it's worth. But I've seen all kinds of people out there that it seems like they've got this in mind. I mean, I read an article today about vertical farms in the middle of cities. Now, you want to talk about a solution to what I'm saying here? That's a fucking solution, man. A huge farm, like if you could imagine like a skyscraper building, but growing food in it. That's pretty fucking smart. Now, I think that in conjunction with, things like you and your neighbors growing your own food. I mean, I grow other things, but, they have their utility. Anywho, I've got a few articles here, and I'm trying to find the one that was lining up with where I was going with all that. And here it is. And this one's on Bitcoin Magazine, and I want to make sure that this is... Yes, it is. Okay. I wanted to make sure that the whole article was like right here on this website as opposed to, it's a link to another one. I hate aggregation pages. Man, they should be fucking illegal. But I don't want a federal regulatory body out there to make them illegal. So I really don't care that they exist. I'm just saying that you really shouldn't do it. Bitcoin Magazine. Real users. In this Italian mountain town, everyone knows about Bitcoin. He's scribbling a series of 12 words on the blue paper handed to him by one of the two women at the other side of the desk. Marco is his name. Graying hair, blue jeans, and still wearing the fat black winter coat that protected him against the cold alpine air outside. He just drove 80 kilometers from his hometown and is now in the process of installing the Altana Bitcoin wallet as recommended. Quote, I had heard of Bitcoin but didn't own any, he explains, when asked why he didn't just buy Bitcoins on an online exchange. Quote, I prefer the human contact if I'm going to purchase some. The other of the two women walks him to the white mailbox-sized machine in the corner. Quote, Compro Euro, it reads, the same words that are plastered across the wall and the window of the small shop. And, quote, Bitcoin ATM. The woman explains how the machine works, pointing to the small black window that hides a camera and then to the QR code on Marco's phone screen. Marco nods and gets out his brown leather wallet. As the woman retakes her seat at the desk in front of the bookshelf with copies of Mastering Bitcoin and Anti-Fragile, Marco starts shoving orange 50 euro notes into the Bitcoin ATM. The machine responds with a buzzing and clicking sound for every slip inserted. This goes on for several minutes before Marco puts his wallet and phone back in his jean pockets and walks back to the desk to give a final handshake to both women. Quote, I'd like to get some of my money out of the bank, and Bitcoin seemed like a good option, he says, briefly explaining his investment decision before leaving the shop with a thankful smile. Bitcoin Valley. In the same northern Italian town about 4 years ago, another Marco Amadori, was discussing Bitcoin with fellow local enthusiasts. Working on tech projects for the province of Trento, Amadori pitched them a dream. Schooled as a developer in his late 30s at the time, Amadori wanted to turn Reveretto, the name of this town, into Bitcoin Valley, with Bitcoin companies, Bitcoin accepting merchants, and of course, Bitcoin users. Marco Amadori overlooks the town of Reveretto in Bitcoin Valley. 4 years later, Amadori and his fellow enthusiasts own and run 2 Bitcoin businesses in Reverto, with a nearby education center and a communication company coming up. In Bitcoin, Amadori's first Bitcoin business is a research and development company working on various Bitcoin-related software applications, including point-of-sale payment solutions for merchants and the Altana wallet. The second, Compro Euro, Italians will understand the pun, is a brick-and-mortar exchange, the first of its kind in Italy. Anyone can walk in to buy or sell up to €3,000 worth of Bitcoin on the spot. The service applies full Know Your Customer identification and charges a 12% markup to boot. Italians in and around Reverto don't seem to mind. Quote, "It has calmed down a bit now, but last December was crazy," Compro Euro co-founder Alessandro Olivio. "The shop was full, and we had people waiting in line to use the Bitcoin ATM." A bit younger than Amadori, Olivio quickly got involved with the Bitcoin Valley project when it was pitched to him. Quote, "A second Compro Euro brick-and-mortar exchange is about to open in Pordenone next month." My apologies on that. "And there are concrete plans for Bologna and Carpi as well. Altogether, we've had hundreds of requests from cities across the country. Demand is huge." In Bitcoin and Compro Euro are now at the heart of Bitcoin Valley. Very literally so. In the case of the exchange, it's situated right in the center of town, where the 3 streets meet. Hard to miss for anyone strolling around the brick streets of Reverto. But they are also at the figurative heart of Bitcoin Valley. Figurative. My apologies. Figurative. In Bitcoin and Compro Euro stand out as the flagship enterprises in the town that has come to be known as the Bitcoin capital of Italy. With about 30 Bitcoin accepting merchants and less than 40,000 people, it is one of the most Bitcoin dense cities in the world. Arnhem in the Netherlands is probably still at the lead. Pizzeria da Papi, Amadori, Olivio, and other enthusiasts are trying to get a Bitcoin economy going in Reverto. The in Bitcoin and Compro Euro teams get paid in Bitcoin and tend to visit the establishments that accept Bitcoin more than other users. Their restaurant of choice is often Pizzeria da Papi, owned by Ivan, a tall, slim man with friendly eyes. Ivan started accepting Bitcoin in early 2017 and has kept most of his coins, he says with a wide smile. The price has gone up significantly, but for Ivan, Bitcoin is not just a new payment method or even just a form of money. Having been introduced with the digital currency and possibly inspired by a thieving former employee, Olivio suggests, Ivan imagines a world wherein the flow of money across supply chains can be traced and automated. I don't know why. Why would you want that? I mean, I can understand some utility for it if your payments need to be like just in time or something like that, but I think that between 3D printing and cryptocurrencies, a lot of what we currently order can be mitigated as far as like the duration of transit or whatnot. I mean, for all I know, I'm looking at products of exactly what I'm talking about all around me, and I'm just looking ahead to a little bit further than what I see on the store shelf or what I see in portrayed as modern life in TV. Anyway, continuing on, not quite finished here. Quote, I would like to set up a system where my supplies, those that sell me cheese or vegetables, get paid their share automatically when I sell a pizza, he explains. Yeah, I don't think so, dude. The last customers have left the restaurant, so he's locked the doors and is lighting up a cigarette as he sits down to talk Bitcoin. This solves the liquidity problem. I would no longer need to put investment up front, and instead automatically forward a part of any payment I receive. Ivan admits he hasn't worked out the details. He's not yet sure how his system can prevent him from lying to his suppliers about the number of pizzas sold, or why his suppliers would want to take the risk that he might not sell any. But that's not the point, he says. Quote, it's early days. Bitcoin is just starting. It's about what will be possible in the future. Yeah, dude, possible and practical are two different things. I mean, that last paragraph indicates to me that the guy hasn't really thought this all the way through, I don't think. Continuing on. As a first step in the shorter term, the pizzeria and in Bitcoin are working on an accounting system. Even if the pizzeria accepts Bitcoin for payment, Ivan needs to pay tax in euros. The in-Bitcoin payment terminal, a software layer on top of BitPay, lets him convert a percentage of the Bitcoins into euros automatically and keeps track of how much tax he needs to pay at the end of the day. The trust factor. Ivan may be more interested in Bitcoin than most shop owners, but in Rivererto, he's no fluke. From the local extreme sports store, most Bitcoin payments are for ski and snowboard gear, to the horse meat butchery, to the newspaper stand at the edge of town. The Bitcoin acetati stickers? What? Acetati. Stickers pop up on storefronts across the intimate city center. Oh, that's kind of interesting. And while the amount of commerce that takes place in cryptocurrency is still relatively small, Rivererto has received lots of attention from Italian media. As such, everyone in town is aware of its status as the Bitcoin Valley, even those that don't care about Bitcoin at all. Merchants were open to Bitcoin in Rivererto exactly because it is a relatively small town, suspects Claudio Gobber, the 30-something chatty senior business development manager for InBitcoin. It has proven to be such a fertile breeding ground, he thinks, because the small town familiarity gave local merchants the confidence they needed. Amadori's family, in particular, has been living there for generations. Quote, when people first hear about Bitcoin, they start asking questions about the technology, about mining. But what they really want to know is if they can trust it. We were able to skip this step because people trust us. We have familiar faces, Gobber explained. Quote, this is how we grow Bitcoins. We start small and have it spread from there. And that's what makes it special, he thinks. Quote, Bitcoin is a bottom-up revolution. That's what gets me excited. It's local pizza shop owners like Ivan that come up with ideas. They tell us what problem they encounter so we can solve it. Bitcoin is all about openness and permissionless innovation. The tax accounting solution is only one example. And you know what, dude? That's kind of like an unnecessary thing, I think, but that's just me. Manny Alcilio. The very first establishment in Rivererto to accept Bitcoin was the local bar. Manny Alcilio, back in 2015. He's still the establishment that receives the most Bitcoin payments in town today. Quote, I also pay my Gian Paoli Rossi says, while he pours 4 spritzers for the girls that just walked in. He's the owner of the bar, in his late 30s with a black crew cut. He chuckles a little when asked whether his employees are happy with the arrangement. Quote, "I'm not leaving them much choice." He pays them through Bitwage, he says, which converts euros into Bitcoin. But if they don't want to keep the Bitcoin, I will offer to buy it back. Like Ivan, Paolo doesn't see Bitcoin as just a payment method. He is an enthusiast, trading altcoins in his free time to try and increase his holdings. Bitcoin's volatile nature doesn't bother him. He enjoys it. Yeah, we call it crypto life, baby. Quote, "If you don't like the roller coaster, go with the caterpillar," he had told an Italian television crew 2 weeks prior, comparing the stability of the euro with a kiddie ride in a nearby theme park. Quote, "No one is forcing you." It made him a local Bitcoin celebrity. He's now having the sentence printed on a shirt like a catchphrase, he says. If you don't like the roller coaster, go with the caterpillar. Rivererto is probably getting closer to establishing a circular Bitcoin economy than anywhere else in the world, with Mani El Silo at the center of the payment carousel. Not only does Gian Paolo take Bitcoin from the Inbit crew, who will often drop by after work, but the bar owner has also convinced a local beer producer to accept Bitcoin from him. Quote, "But I'm not paying them in Bitcoin right now," he says emphatically. Quote, "Not now. Now is the time to hold." Gian Paolo acknowledges that for bar owners like him, Bitcoin does have one problem. Fees can be high sometimes. Quote, "In November and December, almost no one paid in Bitcoin," Gian Paolo says. "Even my mom complained about fees. If my mom starts to notice, that's not good." Yet there was no way Gian Paolo would accept Bitcoin's cheaper offshoot, Bitcoin Cash, he said. Quote, "Nah, that's Roger Vere's coin, and that crew, and a few of Chinese miners. I'm not interested, and with Bitcoin, my team, it's like a football derby. I would never switch sides." Yeah, well, look, bro, there's your opinion, and there's reality. If you're already trading altcoins, then I don't see what your problem is, you know? But I think that that's just a matter of time. He's already over the conceptual hurdle of just using Bitcoin and accepting Bitcoin and trying to incorporate it in his broader local economy. But nonetheless, I think he's only slightly short-sighted, and I think in the longer term, it might not be Bitcoin Cash that he uses, but he will be using altcoins to accept payments. Like I said, he's already over the conceptual hurdle, and now it's going to be about what is most advantageous to him. You know, he's already savvy enough to be trading altcoins and knowing when to hold his Bitcoin and use fiat instead. So, you know, he's already made several jumps. It's just that last little creep he hasn't made yet, where he can accept that Bitcoin Cash works just like Bitcoin is supposed to, and he's not getting raped with fees. And he'll come to understand it. I think what'll really end up happening is the next time that Bitcoin does have its fuck up, you know, where the volume of transactions is high enough that fees just get out of control again, what's going to end up happening is people are going to come into his establishment and they're going to be like, "Hey dude, I know you accept Bitcoin and all, and I'd really like to pay you in Bitcoin, but it will like literally cost me more than this beer cost me for me to pay for it in Bitcoin. So would it be alright if I paid you in like Monero or Dash or Verge or Litecoin or Ethereum or Ethereum Classic, or you figure out where you want to stop with it. But the owner of this establishment is going to be faced with a really significant conundrum, because he will be able to convert the altcoins that he does accept, which he will because he likes money. He can convert them to Bitcoin and hold them as Bitcoin. He could convert them into euros and pay his guy upstream, from him, his beer supplier, in times that it's too expensive to pay with Bitcoin. He can do all of these things, and like I said, he's already looking out for his own interest in deciding when to spend his Bitcoin. So that conceptual hurdle has been cleared. It's going to be about getting over himself now and seeing where his self is getting in the way of him making money, or at least making more money than he's currently making. But, it's all a matter of market sentiment, man. And that's something that changes over time. And I expect there's going to be a time in the near future where we are going to be faced with using cryptocurrencies as a means of transacting. And some of us aren't going to be all that keen on, does the state get their cut of this transaction? When you start looking out for your own your own personal interest in the way that you arbitrage your funds, that mentality will leach out into other aspects of your business. And you're going to see where certain things that you were doing before are pretty much unnecessary now, and that you can do without doing it, and that it will save you a lot more money over time. And you'll figure it out. Now, I'm not going to be very specific on it because I don't know what your use case is, and I don't know what your own risk tolerance is, but I leave that to you. But yeah, like I said, I think that we're going to be looking at these challenges, and you're going to be saying to yourself, is this expense really worth it? Am I getting something out of this expense? And if I'm not, why am I paying it? Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. And I know that was just one article, but it was a pretty long article. Plus, you got plenty of commentary out of me on it. Let's go ahead and throw down some Slipknot, Wait and Bleed, here on Coin Metal. And that was Ministry with Punch in the Face. So, I came across this website earlier today, and I gave them an attaboy on Twitter. Anyway, it's Diar, DIAR.co, and it's like a little news website kind of thing, and so yeah, I came across this set of articles here that I thought it was kind of interesting here, and so let's just go for it. It's a really quick read. I think total of like about 4 pages worth of material here, but yeah, let's go for it. In this first one, it doesn't give us an attribution to a direct person, at least not right here. Hold on, let's see here. No, apparently this is like a newsletter kind of thing. Current state of play. Lightning strikes, but select hubs dominate network funds. Like we didn't see that coming like 8 billion fucking miles away. Earlier this year, Blockstream deployed a small test store with payments being settled on the Lightning Network. Soon after, Lightning Labs and Async also working on the development of Bitcoin's second layer solution, went onto the mainnet with their offerings. And growth has been remarkable. Nodes are up by 8,600%, and the Bitcoin funds on the network are up 3,600% from the start of the year. It's less clear, however, whether the concentration of capacity amongst the largest nodes will improve with more adoption. The Lightning Network, LN, the second layer payment protocol primed as the solution to Bitcoin's scalability woes, has been growing in popularity and quite rapidly. The LN, which leverages smart contracts built on top of Bitcoin, allows for near-instant, low-cost, and scalable transactions between two parties. The number of nodes as well as the fund capacity has been steadily increasing ever since Lightning Labs, one of the three development teams actively deploying LN, officially launched the beta version in March. C-labeled, the LN currently has more than 2,500 nodes, 7,800 channels, and a total network capacity of north of $150,000. On average, each node has more than 4 channels open, and each channel has an average capacity of $20. But while the capacity and the number of nodes as well as the channels are increasing steadily, the reliability of successfully routing a payment on the Lightning Network is still quite low, especially for larger amounts. The success rate for a payment of no more than a few dollars between random Lightning Network nodes is 70%. A current woe facing the LN is that it's not ideal for sending large payments. If only the nodes that have at least one channel with sufficient capacity to route the payment are considered, the probability of successfully routing the payment of less than $200 between random LN nodes is a mere 1%. However, there is a development underway for what developers have dubbed as the Atomic Multipath Payment, AMP, which would allow large LN transactions to be split into many smaller transactions and then would be automatically joined back together again. While LN is still in beta, individuals might become more willing to lock up more funds as the development teams iron out kinks, which would result in a higher probability of successfully routing a payment. And an increase in merchants accepting Bitcoin for payment of goods and services would also be key in the growth of funds on the network. Async, which currently holds close to 5% of the total Bitcoin capacity on the LN, has already addressed this with their launch of Strike, a Lightning payment processor. Dire June 11th. Start of a trend? One of the criticisms of the Lightning Network is that transferring funds requires that the sender, receiver, and intermediaries through which the transaction is routed to be online at the time when the transaction occurs. Unlike sending the transaction on-chain, it is impossible to send funds to someone who is offline. It is more convenient to open a channel with someone who is always online and has enough liquidity to route even larger transactions. This leads to another criticism of encouraging the creation of large hubs. The lack of liquidity between nodes and the online factor has led to the concentration of capacity to only a few large nodes. 10 of the largest LN nodes, 0.4% of total nodes, currently have 53% of the network's total capacity, while the remaining 2,500 nodes have 47%. KYC requirements to buck the trend of large hubs. While these hubs exert no control over the network, they could technically be considered money transmitters should regulators see it as such. Bitcoin expert Andreas Antonopoulos said in January, quote, "I don't think Coinbase will run Lightning, and I think there are many reasons why we're not going to see regulated exchanges run Lightning hubs. They have a fully KYC/AML'd customer on one end of their connection, but if they receive a payment that's going to that customer over the Lightning Network, they have no idea whether that customer's the final destination. If they receive one coming in from that customer, they have no idea if that customer's the origin, which means their KYC just fell apart, completely fell apart." Dude, I've had criticisms of Andreas Antonopoulos before, but you know what? I've said it before and I'll say it again. When he's exact, he's fucking exact. And I have said, and you can go back in my shows, okay, for over a fucking year now, where I've been saying that Lightning Network and all of the inhabitants of it are going to be required to have fucking KYC AML fucking bullshit regulation on them. The system of Lightning Network is designed to fit hand in glove with legislation and terminologies and definitions already on the books. You have to understand this. Really, go back, fucking find it on Google, okay? Look up Frank Dashwood coin metal bit license. Look it up on Google. You'll find a whole bunch of tweets of me talking about bit license and whatnot. But among those, you will find an episode. And you know what? I'm going to find it on my fucking hard drive somewhere and stick it up on my YouTube channel. Because you guys really need to listen to that. If you want to understand what this whole custodian bullshit and this whole fucking money transmitter bullshit is all about, New York, with the NYDFS, put forward the framework that all these fucking monkeys intend to apply to you if you be trying to use fucking Lightning Network shit. They already have it in place. You will be required to have a license. You will be required to be registered. This is not fantasy. This is not paranoia. They've already got it in black and white fucking text. I mean, and I'll be clear on something else about Andreas Antonopoulos. The man is a master wordsmith. Okay, he says what he intends to say. Okay, and so when you hear him being ambiguous, he's being intentionally so because he does not know 100%. When you hear him speak definitively, it's because that motherfucker knows that shit. And that was a very, very definitive statement at the end of their article. And if you need me to read it again, I will. Because I mean that's the whole crux of it right there. When you start introducing unknown elements into your fully fucking KYC'd system, you've made it inoperable, non-functional. I'm not non-functional, but you made it useless. You know, the whole point of knowing your customers, knowing everybody that's involved, having identities associated with the transaction, as in who was involved in it. Now, I don't know. I've always felt that cryptocurrencies were meant to be pseudo-anonymous at least. And so the association of KYC, AML bullshit with cryptocurrencies is completely like antithetical to them. You know, and we've seen where some countries or some governments have had things to say about privacy coins that aren't exactly nice. But the fact of the matter is they are going to be using them as well. And you can't You can't get around that. And I think I've been pretty clear about this before, that the use cases that we see with cryptocurrencies, everybody sees with cryptocurrencies. And it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, when we're talking about, say, a politician that needs to get reelected, they look at the funding capabilities of cryptocurrencies and the pseudo-anonymous capability of them, and they say, I'm in love. It's the truth. And so anytime some legislation comes across their desk that might curtail that funding source, they're like, yeah, I don't think I want to put my name on that, because that would kind of negate my future funding, and I don't want to do that. You know, who wants to cut their own throat, right? And so, I mean, we've seen this in South Korea. We've seen it in China. We're going to see it more and more in the United States. You know, the idea that you're going to hammer down on this entirely, it's never going to happen. You know, you might get some high-level compliance and whatnot, you know, that for the most part people go along with it. But I think more and more people will see the, how should I say it, the useless cost of it, you know. And like any other natural system, when you have this huge cost that's associated with no benefit to you, you just shake it off. You do something to get rid of it. You know, you don't endure it. You try and get rid of it. You know, and I think that as noxious as some entities have tried to be, they find out that it's only noxious to them as well. Anyway, getting back into this dire, there was another thing, and Mr. Bryce Wiener was keen to indicate it when it happened, but apparently Tether has created like 350 million new Tethers. Let's get into that. Tether hits $3 billion outstanding following solvency, quote unquote, solvency report. Tether hired Free, Sporkin and Sullivan, FSS, a law firm co-founded by former FBI Director Louis Freeh, to confirm that the company has the corresponding reserves in their bank accounts. The memorandum released by FSS does not constitute an audit, since it was not conducted by an accounting firm. Stuart Hoegner, lead legal advisor to Tether, said that an audit cannot be obtained because, quote, the barriers to getting audited are simply too big to overcome right now, and not just for us. The cryptocurrency market looks too nascent for large accounting firms to consider taking on clients who offer digital coins. On the flip side of the argument, however, TrueUSD, an alternative stablecoin, quote-unquote stablecoin, manipulated coin, publishes independent attestation performed by accounting firm Cohen and Company on the bank accounts holding the collateral for TrueUSD. Confirmed reserves, but liabilities unclear. The memorandum does indeed confirm that Tether had the corresponding reserves in their bank accounts at one point in time. June 1st, the date was reportedly picked without Tether's knowledge. The memorandum concludes, quote, FSS is confident Tether's unencumbered assets exceed $2,538,090,823.52 as of June 1st, 2018. The memorandum does not examine Tether's liabilities, however. The disclaimer in the memorandum states that FSS procedures performed are not for the purposes of providing assurance. Then what the fuck is it for? I mean, you got the FBI director as your CEO or whatever, or head guy. There also seems to be potential for conflict of interest. See chart. Eugene R. Sullivan, senior partner at Free Sporkin & Sullivan, is also on board of advisors of Noble Bank, which has been providing banking for both Bitfinex and Tether for some time. Mr. Sullivan's name has since been deleted from Noble Bank's website, but it's worth noting that FSS disclosed this in the memorandum. Tether's co-founder, Brock Pierce, also reportedly co-founded Noble Bank in 2014. Remember Mt. Gox? John Betts, founder and CEO of Noble Bank, and Brock Pierce were both part of Sunlot Holdings in 2014, which unsuccessfully offered to take over the assets of Mt. Gox and revive the bankrupt exchange. Louis Free, co-founder of Free Sporkin & Sullivan, had an advisory role for Sunlot Holdings in 2014. Sounds like a fucking covert circle jerk. Remember Friedman LLP? A previous accounting document, which was also not a full audit but rather a public intent memo, was done by Friedman LLP in September of 2017 and found that Tether also back then had the corresponding reserves. However, the auditor noted that the money was stored in the account held in the name of a trustee, and he couldn't attest whether Tether had an enforceable agreement with the trustee, meaning he couldn't confirm whether they just had the account information or whether or not it was their account. The name of the bank where the reserves were stored was redacted from the document. Tether ended the partnership with Friedman LLP, quote, given the excruciatingly detailed procedures Friedman was undertaking for the relatively simple balance sheet. Quote, continuing on, the U.S. Commodities Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, subpoenaed Tether and Bitfinex in December of 2017. However, no further information has come to the fore. It was also confirmed last week that Phil Potter, Tether director as well as chief strategy officer for Bitfinex, has left both companies. Yes, this was the other article that I wanted to get into, but I wanted to talk more about this one first. Like I said, I smell a circle jerk of fuckery here. Shit, which part was this? They were saying here that they couldn't confirm whether there was any kind of encumbrances on the $2.5 billion that is supposedly in quote unquote Tether's bank accounts. Now consider this for a moment. There is connections between EOS, Bitfinex, and Tether. Consider this also. EOS supposedly had an ICO worth $2 billion or $4 billion or some shit like that. Anyway, what if, and just follow me here, what if at least 2 billion or maybe even 2.5 billion of EOS's quote-unquote ICO is actually an encumbrance on the $2.5 billion in the accounts that have not been confirmed to be owned by Tether. Think about that for a moment. Now, the the Free Sporkin and Sullivan supposedly confirmed that Tether had like ownership over these accounts. However, they were not able to confirm whether or not there were any other encumbrances on those funds. It's very, very important, because we don't know if we're counting funds from Bitfinex's books. We don't know if we're counting EOS's their ICO. We don't know. These are all things that would have been confirmed or, established at least if a true audit of Tether's books were to be done. And as this article notes, they have yet to so much as respond to the subpoenas that have been sent to them, which I'll tell you, I don't really feel like they have an obligation to do. I mean, they took some proactive measures and terminated relations with at least me, so I got to assume that certain other American entities also lost access to Bitfinex as well. I mean, I still have an account with them. I can't hold a balance with them because they can't do business with me. Anyway, I am going to run this until 12 because we did start an hour late, and I don't want to deny you guys an hour of me. Besides, we got plenty of material to go by. And so yeah, I smell a circle jerk of fuckery in Bitfinex, Tether, EOS, and I think there was another one in there, BitThumb. Now, BitThumb is interesting because they've supposedly had a hack, and that was worth several $1 million. Now, what's interesting about BitThumb, they're a South Korean exchange, and they'd just gone through some sort of regulatory bullshit, and I can't remember specifically what it is, but I would suggest probably what happened was they were shaken down. They had a shakedown. The federal government of South Korea said something to the effect of, "Give us fucking money, or we'll stop your operations within the borders of South Korea." And so they had to pay up, and so they claimed a hack. They did have reserves, however, and they did recompense their customers, supposedly. And all is well with the world, supposedly with BitThumb. However, the divot is in somebody's books. Whether that's in BitThumb, whether it's in EOS, whether it's in Tether, whether it's in Bitfinex, it's on somebody's books. That hole exists. And now, as we'd read previously, Tether just went up to $3 billion worth of fucking Tethers outstanding. And did we actually read that? I think so. Might have. We may, if we haven't already. Oh no, yeah, we did. Outstanding following solvency report. Yeah, we already read that. Okay. Cool. Just wanted to check and verify. And by the way, this is all on Dyer.co. This is, I guess, Volume 2, Issue 25 for 25th today. And so on to the last part of this report. And I found this one especially interesting, given my associations with Verge. U.S. Secret Service calls on Congress for privacy coins oversight. Robert Novi, Deputy Assistant Director of the Secret Service's Office of Investigations, gave a testimony before the House of Representatives Financial Services Subcommittee on Terrorism and Illicit Finance, where he expressed the agency's concern regarding, quote, digital currencies used in criminal schemes that undermine the integrity of financial and payment systems, their use in cases of fraud, and their general use as a means of money laundering, i.e. untaxed commerce. Sorry, I had to refresh the old gas tank there. Mr. Novi wrote in his testimony, quote, "While some digital currencies have operated lawfully, others have been used extensively for illicit activity. The growing illicit use of digital currencies risks undermining the effectiveness of existing U.S. laws and regulations, especially those intended to limit the ability of criminals to profit from their illicit activities." i.e., people conducting otherwise legitimate commerce with materials that this guy doesn't like people transacting in. Continuing on. Mr. Novi asked Congress for action against private cryptocurrencies, the likes of Monero and Zcash. He wrote, quote, "We should consider additional legislative or regulatory actions to address potential challenges related to anonymity-enhanced cryptocurrencies, services intended to obscure transactions on blockchains, i.e. cryptocurrency tumblers or mixers, and cryptocurrency mining pools." Not going to happen, dude. In April, Japan's financial service agency, FSA, pressured cryptocurrency exchanges to stop trading Monero, Zcash, and Dash, citing the risks of money laundering and other criminal activity. U.S.-based Gemini, however, recently obtained approval from New York Department of Financial Services to offer Zcash trading and custodial services. And Grayscale Digital Currency Group's investment arm also offer a trust for the cryptocurrency. As opposed to Monero, all Zcash transactions are transparent by default and only optionally private. In a press release, NYDFS explicitly stated that they are approving public T addresses as well as fully private Z addresses. Currently, most of the transactions on Zcash are not private, which makes it easier to identify the private ones through traffic analysis. As Dyer wrote in January, since most of the truly private coins are nearly impossible to track by the government and their awareness has been growing, regulatory pressure on fiat off-ramps was expected. If Congress decides to go ahead with the legislative or regulatory action, one of the possible regulatory interventions would be to make it mandatory to declare the possession of private cryptocurrencies. If a person failed to do so, and it was discovered, they would be legally or criminally liable. The most drastic solution would be to ban the possession of private cryptocurrencies altogether under the pretext of hiding assets. And you know what, dude? That's never going to happen. Do you want to know why? Because politicians like money. And they don't want to be making themselves criminals. We've seen this again and again and again and again and again. We're going to see it again and again and again. And look, we're getting to a point with the advanced Western civilization kind of nations where they're going to be experiencing the same things that Venezuela did. Okay, I envision a time in the not so distant future where constraints on energy and energy sources is going to cause some really interesting effects in people's behaviors. You know, I mean, it already has in my local community. I mean, when gas goes up from $2 to $3 a gallon, people use their boats and stuff a lot less. That has an economic impact all the way up the chain. And we're going to see this going into the future, folks, where the constraints imposed on people's pocketbooks because of increases in cost for energy, I expect there to be more transition into quote-unquote money laundering as time goes on, because people are going to be looking for ways to cut costs. And feeding themselves and keeping the lights on are far more important than did Uncle Sam get their cut of my fucking transaction? Did they get their cut of my paycheck? I'm sorry, that's a reality for everybody. Not just people that are involved in cryptocurrencies, for everybody. When you start running low on food or you start running low on energy, I don't give a fuck who you are. You feel that shit. And so with regard to private cryptocurrencies, I think everybody sees the utility of them. And understanding that it has utility for everyone, it's best to just leave them alone. You know, if somebody wants to declare their income, so be it. But they're not depending on you for things is just as much a cost savings as you having total control over everything. I mean, having total control is interesting. Assuming it can ever be done, I think is a fallacy. Trying to convince other people that it can be done is a lot easier, I'm sure. But when that perception that you're trying to impose is different, too different from people's experience of reality, they're not going to comply, dude. You're going to be like, I don't think I want to endure that cost. So yeah, we've seen it before and we will see it again. You know, as a matter of fact, another good case study is the case of Ross Ulbricht, where officials, the deepest of the deep law enforcement officers, could not themselves avoid being corrupted by cryptocurrency. So if you want to play with that, go right ahead. Increase the premium on it. All you will do is embolden those so inclined. You'll place a premium on it, and those involved will make even more money than they do right now. And you'll be enriching even faster the people that you're probably trying to avoid enriching. And you know, that becomes really clear when you start thinking about the legislation that they'd like to impose. Okay, requirements for licenses like BitLicense. That thing is, I can't be 100% sure. It's either $5,000 or $25,000. An application fee, a non-refundable application fee. I don't know about you, but I don't have $25,000 that I can fucking give to fucking NYDFS. More importantly, I don't have the $150,000 I would need to pay people to maintain the level of infrastructure that would be required of me if I did business with one motherfucker in New York. It's absolutely fucking preposterous. I mean, they've turned New York into a digital no zone. As far as if you're interested in being quote unquote compliant, because the compliance requirements of the NYDFS, I guarantee you, if you were to take any one of those Wall Street motherfuckers and you were to tell them, we want you to comply with this, we want you to comply with BitLicense, they would take one look at you, and one look at it, and punch you. They wouldn't even say anything. They just turn around and punch you for even handing them such a piece of shit. I mean, really, you got to read that shit, man. It basically turns the head of the NYDFS into like God of crypto in New York. They've issued all of 7 fucking licenses in 4 years. You want to tell me that shit wasn't market containment? competition containment? Using the state to break you? Stop you from doing business with people in New York? What the fuck? I thought you people were about making money. No. Only rich people making money. That's what you're fucking about. Fortunately, we don't have to be as patient as you think we are. I mean, I've been to New York. I've been to Long Island. You fuckers are pirates. You make laws just so you can break them. And fuck everybody who's stupid enough to follow them. I mean, and it's just like casual discourse there, man. I mean, so what? I got fucking arrested. I got processed. I'm out now. I'm on probation. I can't smoke pot. It's every day for them. And it saddens me because it's like that's all that gives their life any kind of meaning out there, unless of course they're fishermen. That's my own thing there. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. It's been a little while. And exactly what to throw down. You know what? It's got to be Prong. Beg to differ here on Coin Metal. And that was Wisconsin Death Trip by Static X. Love that fucking album. Anyway, got this article here. I want to close this episode out with this article, and then, of course, we'll have our last dance after we discuss it a little bit. But I thought this one was kind of special because it's something we've seen coming for quite a while. And let's check and verify, make sure this is actually a sourced article from here. And I think so. Alright. So this is on ccn.com. And actually, we're not going to just close it out with this one. We got one more in between, too. Anyway, here it is. Bank of America admits cryptocurrencies are a threat to its business model. Year 9, kids. Bank of America, one of the world's largest financial institutions, admitted in an annual report that cryptocurrencies are a threat to its business model. The report, which we are going to right-click on, which was dated February 22nd and filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, listed a range of... Hold on. Oh, never mind. Fuck the February. Jesus Christ. I'm glad I have another article here. Sorry about that. I thought that was something fucking exciting. But no, apparently not. But, alas, I do have another article here that I thought was terribly interesting, and I want to get into it. Because I kind of called this one a little while ago, and I've also called the next step of it too. But anyway, continuing on. Bitsonline.com, and this is authored by Akshay Mekadia. And let's check and verify something really quick here. Blah, blah, blah. He. So yes, penis. This is authored on June 24th, 2018. Microsoft employs blockchain for royalty payments of Xbox publishers. A new way for royalties. Microsoft and its Xbox publisher partners, such as Ubisoft, are going in on a blockchain-based royalty program, the latest adoption milestone to drop for the fledgling tech. Leo Ammons, Senior Vice President for Finance and Strategic Planning at Ubisoft, stated, quote, "The opportunity to collaborate with Microsoft on blockchain use cases, especially in the domain of digital contracts and royalties, is thrilling." Yeah, now you can get paid to game. The tech giant Microsoft is making the switch from the unwieldy manual royalty process to the blockchain in a bid to increase transparency, reduce costs, and save time. With blockchain tech in the picture, Xbox game publishers will be able to view the sales analytics of games and earnings in real time. With all the data available straight away, game creators can deploy various marketing methods to increase their reach. In contrast, the same process would take up to 45 days on average using the old manual system, which used spreadsheets to calculate royalties for publishers. Microsoft Finance Director Rohit Ambekar noted that the new system was undeniably optimized. Quote, after adopting the blockchain solution, even with only one-third efforts, we're able to run the same royalty operations while providing faster, more reliable service. High in security, low in cost. The blockchain solution in question will run the cloud computing service Microsoft Azure, which the company claims to be the, quote, ideal host for the system due to its magnitude of scalability. The fledgling tech has many pros, one being the enhanced level of trust among stakeholders. The entire process becomes automated, which removes the need for manually recalculating and auditing royalty payments. Security is another strong point due to the nature of distributed ledgers. Chief Financial Officer of Xbox, Tim Stewart, said the move was very much so about creating an ecosystem. Quote, we are developing an ecosystem within the gaming industry that connects developers and publishers to game performance. Providing near real-time access to data greatly improves the process, effectiveness, and insights that lead to more enriching experience for the partners. For now, rights and royalties management is in the crosshairs, but eventually, if this inaugural system is successful, Microsoft might launch further blockchain-based services. Yeah, they've got their own fucking miner right on your fucking living room. It's hooked up to your TV right now. You're probably watching this show through it right now. It's a fucking miner. I mean, it's got significant graphics processing capability, so why couldn't it be used as a mining box? And like I said, you know, it's already there. It's already deployed. You've already got fucking millions of users. What if you were to give them the option to mine your shit? They'd at least turn the electricity that during the time that they're not actually playing the game or watching something on YouTube or whatever, they'd be able to convert the electricity and the bandwidth and their hardware to money. Maybe credit towards games, or maybe your own coin that you have an online store similar to, say, Amazon, or some partnership with Amazon where they're willing to accept your game credits as a cryptocurrency because it's going to be a proof of work coin and it's going to be done on Xboxes. So I mean, it's already all fucking AML'd and whatever. It's all licensed. It's all in an enclosed environment online and relatively secure. However, I think this will create the ever-dreaded central point of failure in Microsoft. And this is a danger that I don't think they really are looking at, and I think will make itself far more evident the more they try to implement quote-unquote blockchain technology into their systems. I mean, I think that this will be the straw that breaks the camel's back with regard to the separation between the internet and private networks, such as the or permissioned and non-permissioned networks, rather. You're going to find out that all this permission and all this AML, CYA bullshit, that it's just a bigger cost. That's all it creates, is a bigger cost structure. And while that might be neat for keeping your competition out, eventually that shit creeps into your own balance sheet. And while you might be planning for it now, it will get more expensive as time goes on. When the government's looking at your effort level involved with your profit, they're going to be looking at it and saying, hey man, you're making billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars at no additional cost to yourself, and so we want a bigger cut. Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Everybody wants that money. If they know you've got it, everybody want it. And with regard to what I was talking about with using cryptocurrencies, mining them on your Xboxes and whatnot, it's only going to motivate more people to try and clone Xboxes. There's already a market for that, or at least there was way back in the day, before the Xbox 360, before the Xbox One. I think it was like the first or second iteration of Xbox. There was already people making their own Xboxes, basically, and selling them. And they were able to read Xbox games, but you couldn't connect to the Xbox network or anything like that. But they had their own network for that. And I think that's one of those points that's one of those things we're going to see again. If it's not already a thing still, I think that's going to expand again. That we're going to see another challenge with regard to gaming consoles, where companies like Microsoft and Nintendo and Sony will get it in their mind that, hey, we can use this as a proprietary miner, create our proprietary mining network, and give ourselves, our partners, and our customers an additional way to make money. However, I will tell you this straight on. If it does not benefit people more than it costs them, they're going to find a way to take that money out of your ass. And you can just take that shit to the bank, because they've got all the hardware they need to learn how to hack into your shit, and they'll figure out how to do it. It's all about incentives. If you want to incentivize people to participate legitimately in your systems, it has to be profitable for them. If it's not profitable for them, not even on a idealistic level, which Bitcoin still is for some people, but if it doesn't even have that value to them, they are going to look for other ways to seize upon the funds that are involved with what they're doing. So like I said, this Xbox for royalty and payments, yeah, great. That might work, might being the operative word. But I think that we won't see a failure there in the royalty payments programs. They'll wait until you deploy something much bigger. Such as things that are in association with people's payments, with their bank account information, with their private keys. And these will be the targets, because they won't be hitting just a couple royalty receivers from your publishers. No. They'll be hitting tens of millions of people all over the planet all at once. Think about that one. Central points of failure are still a thing. And it is with that, I want to go ahead and close out this episode. Thank you very, very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. We will be back again on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Assuming, of course, I don't have another goof like I did today. And so until then, I'd like y'all to trade safe. Do your homework. And watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Thank you again for listening. I will be sure to get this episode and others up onto my YouTube channel. If you'd like, you can find my previous episodes there. I'm going to mill about and see if I can find that BitLicense episode, and if I can, I'm going to go ahead and resubmit it up on there on my YouTube channel. And so, yeah, until Wednesday, you all have an excellent evening. And as far as our last dance, All Hail the New Flesh by Strapping Young Lad. Thank you again for listening, and you all have an excellent evening.